What's your dream car? C6 Corvette. That is very specific. Kylie. A Ford Bronco. A Ford Bronco is your dream car? Okay, never mind. That's fine. A BMW. A 1970 Monte Carlo. That's very specific. I want you to do this. Each and every one of you, you have your specific dream car. I want you to picture that dream car. And you're at home one day, and there's a knock at your door. You go to the door and you open the door, and there's a young man standing there. He says, "Hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. I just want to let you know I have really, really good grades. I'm at school all the time. I actually do some extracurricular activities. I even go to church. I'm a really good kid. I make sure that I'm responsible. In fact, I even have a part-time job. So I'm very responsible. I can be held accountable. Could I take your car out for the night?" What are you guys going to say? No. Why? You don't know him? You could break it, you could crash it, right? And this is your dream car, right? Huh? Yeah, he's taking the dream car out. No, not the car that you have right now. I want you to be imagining this. This is going to be a little bit harder for you because none of you are at that age yet, but I want you to imagine that you have a daughter. And you're at home, and the doorbell rings, and you go up, and there's a young man there. And he says, "Hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. I have really good grades. I'm responsible at school. I have a part-time job. I do extracurricular things. You can trust me. Can I take your daughter out for the night?" I find in a lot of cases, people will say yes to that. However, cars can be replaced. Cars can be bought. Kids cannot be earned, bought, or replaced. Now, this is from the parents' perspective, and we're seeing how they should value their children. But shouldn't we place great value on ourselves? You're more valuable than a car. Who is this guy? Does his grades or abilities or what he can do on the court or in the field or in the classroom say anything about who he is? Now, that's mainly speaking to the ladies, but for the guys that are here, there's so much pressure on you. I can't be single. I have to stop. I need to have another person in my life, that you're going up and you're just knocking on as many doors as you can until you get a yes. My question is she what you really want? Do you really know what you want? This is one reason why last week we went through our character qualities and traits that we're looking for in our future spouse. Is that the car that you really want to drive? Is that the girl that you really want to end up with? Is that the woman that you really want to end up with? Dating is primarily for the purpose of a temporary romantic attachment. We're talking about something that doesn't last long term. The whole idea of getting together and going out with someone is about doing something that feels good now. If I felt good after the date, then it's a good date. We tend not to look down the road and see what might happen later on with this relationship. Dating is all about right now. How do I feel right now? Is this working for me right now? And yet, so much of us, and even our parents and our whole society, is like, well, go ahead, just go for it, jump in. Go for a spin, go out with my daughter, take my car out. You might crash it. You might break her heart. You might get hurt. And yet, we gloss over and go, oh, it's just all about having a good time right now. And as long as you feel good and you have those butterflies and you have those warm feelings, then everything is going to be good. But that's a lie. In a dating context, the primary motive is pleasure without responsibility. I just need to have fun. That's the number one goal. I need to feel good. I don't need to look down the road and think about what may or may not happen. I don't need to think about purity. I don't need to think about how this relationship might affect other relationships that I might have in the future with other people. I don't need to think about how my relationship with him or her might affect their future either. This way of living is extremely short-sighted. You're living your life only looking this far when there's so much more to life. There's so much more in front of you. Yet you're like, I just care about right now. As long as I feel good now, everything is fine. It's the idea of just feeling good. You should be looking much further out because what you are doing now will affect your life further down the road. The idea of temporary romantic attachment and pleasure without responsibility is very dangerous. When your focus is what feels good now, it doesn't work and it ends in heartbreak. I went back and I looked at notes that I had 10 years ago. I've been looking at relationships and how they worked for almost 12 years at that point. From my personal experience and people I knew, I wrote down names and went through and charted as much as I could because I feel like most people, they don't track these numbers. If I'm going to be hanging out with teenagers, talking to teenagers, teaching teenagers, helping them become successful adults later on in life, I really want them to have healthy lives. I need to figure this out. So I'm tracking all these things. And I estimated that when people jump into a dating relationship, 299 times out of 300, it fails. That is one story of a person who jumped into a relationship without thinking about the future where it actually worked. One person out of 300. Those aren't good odds. They're not good at all. And yet everyone else, the other 299, are dealing with some sort of pain or heartbreak. Some, it's not much. It's barely anything at all. We went out for a week, realized it was stupid, didn't hurt. Some people, they go out for months. Some people, they might go out for over a year. And it really, really hurts. When the guy and girl feel it's right and they think it's time, they make the decision to date. The guy and girl may have the hope that it may someday develop into something more permanent, or it may not. But they both understand that there is no commitment. The focus is to enjoy each other right now. Frequently, teens will get into relationships because they just feel like they're ready to date. It's time to date. Everyone else is doing it. I kind of feel left out because I don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend and I really want that label. So I need to do that too, or else I'm not as good as everyone else. I don't want to miss out. Often you'll get a guy who's like, sure, I guess I'll be your boyfriend. And then the girl goes, we're going to be in a committed relationship. You have someone with this standard and then someone with this standard. And they end up getting in a relationship and they're trying to make it work. And they go, well, as long as we're both happy, then everything is okay. It's going to work. They say, we're going to work on it. And as long as we're both happy, we're going to keep this thing going because we're happy. And it's about feeling good right now. And they aren't looking down the road. They're just looking at right now. Now, one of them may be looking a little further down the road than the other one might, but they evaluate the health of the relationship by whether or not it feels good right now. If I feel good right now, that's all that matters. That means it's working. There is no commitment. There's no long-term goal. It doesn't matter how many potential holes there may be in the relationship. As long as the relationship is staying afloat and working now, that's all that matters. They don't think about the storms of life that will come and rain down on their relationship. But when it's sunny and everything's fine and we're feeling good, everything is happy and great, it's easier to keep the relationship afloat. But when the winds pick up and the hardships of life rain down upon them, their relationship sinks like a rock because they weren't prepared for the long term. The basis of their relationship is romantic involvement and an emotional bond. As long as the good feelings are there, everything is okay. But when one of them decides that they no longer want this relationship, it's over, it's done. I'm not feeling it anymore. If you remember our verse from the very beginning of this series, and this is my prayer, that your love may abound more and more in knowledge and depth of insight, so that you may be able to discern what is best and may be pure and blameless until the day of Christ. I'm hoping that one of the things that you may remember from that, even if you didn't take notes, even if you didn't hear it until right now, that you know that the love that we're talking about is an unconditional love. It's a different kind of love. It's not just about your feelings. If your relationship is based on an emotional bond, it will crash and be devastatingly painful. When the butterflies and the warm fuzzies are gone, the relationship is over. When he leaves his socks on the floor for the 100th time, when she breaks a dish, when one of them gets in a car accident that's really bad, and they aren't good looking anymore, they might be deformed, I'm not feeling it anymore. And because I'm not feeling it anymore, I'm out. This is why we want unconditional love, a love that goes past feelings. Having something that is solely based on an emotional bond is weak. Having something just based upon feelings is weak because at some point or another, there will be some bad feelings. Have any of you ever had an argument with one of your friends? I'm hoping all of you have, because if that hasn't happened, then I'm thinking that your relationship is fake to some degree. It doesn't matter how good things might be. You will have a disagreement with everyone at some point in your life. But God has given us the ability to have grace and mercy with one another. We can forgive one another. We can work through our disagreements lovingly with each other. We will have disagreements. which means that if we set up the most important relationship in our life besides God on the foundation of feelings or an emotional bond, we're setting ourselves up for failure. Check this out.
Instant gratification has us in a stranglehold. So much so that we don't want to fix things anymore. Just replace them. Don't like your nose? Get a new one. Don't like your job? Get a new one. Don't like your spouse? Get a new one. Whatever happened to commitment? To standing by our decisions?
Dating is often a short-term relationship that ends in emotional injury. There's no lasting commitment in dating. When people get into these relationships without thoughtfully looking down the road, they end up getting hurt. I think I need to show you guys something. Savannah, you're like 19 years old, right? Totally, she said. I'm going to use you as an example. And we're going to play pretend. I know you're a little bit older than that, but so do you like purple or blue? You need to pick one because this is your heart right here. And can you cut that right there? Fantastic. We're going to say that this right here is your heart. Savannah, you like to date. And so you're looking around at everyone and you're like, you know what? I think it's time for me to date. And you go to church and you find this really cute guy. He has curly hair. And you go up and you're like, you know what? I'm going to date this guy for a while. And she dates him. Her heart gets attached to him. They go out for a while, but she realizes, you know what? There's some way cuter guys at church. But then there's someone else. And he comes in and dates here. But you hate the way he laughs, so that relationship doesn't last long at all. There's this really quiet guy at youth group, and you go and you decide to date him. But then when he finally speaks up, he's like, I actually really don't like you that much. And so you break up with him. Oh gosh, I got stuff on here. Sorry about that. You say, you know what, I'm gonna be really adventurous. I'm gonna go out for someone that's completely the opposite of me. Okay. And she's surprised because they say opposites attract. Well, they attracted, let me tell you. And they went out for over a year. But then she's like, you know what? I found someone much better looking. She's like, I need a man who has a job, who has a car. Oh, wait, no, never mind.
Whoa!
Let me see. Ooh, okay. You smell good. There you go. So listen, you had everything else but the smell. You only have the smell, which only goes so far. Let me go there. You date. Yeah. Okay. No, she has some standards. Okay, so there you go. Date him too. Okay, go there. And anyway, she keeps going around and she's dating everyone. Does anyone else want to date Savannah? Guys, you're hurting her feelings. Oh wait, you want to date her again?
No.
Oh no, okay, great. Okay, fantastic. Oh, I'm sorry. I kind of messed up a little bit there. Sometimes that happens. You're not meaning to do it. What is happening to the tape? It's getting dirty, right? Another thing, is it as sticky as it was before? Which means that if she wants to stick to someone else later on, which you want to get married someday, I'm guessing? Okay. That means you want to stick as well to that person as possible, right? And if there's other junk and other stuff in the way, it's going to be harder to stick to them. The other thing, too, is your heart kind of got hurt in the process, and I don't think there's a way to, make it any better. I'm trying to see if I can, straighten it up. Oh, so sorry, Savannah. I tried, but I didn't. Sometimes things just hurt, and we can't just get it back to the way it was. You just get a heart transplant. I don't think it works that way. You all have a heart like this. And when you stick it on other people, when you get in those relationships, when you form those bonds on this short-term dating type relationship, you get hurt. Your tape is less sticky. There's stuff that still sticks even when you break up. And as hard as you try to get it off, there's nothing that you can do. When you get married, you will have rough times. There'll be disagreements and arguments. There'll be things that need to be worked out. This is true of any marriage. If you have a lot of stuff in your past, it makes it a lot harder to work through those things together. You'll want to cling as tight as possible to one another, but your tape won't be as sticky. And you'll have to pick through the past things that have happened in your life and in their lives as well that have nothing to do with your current relationship because it's stuck on you and it's something you have to deal with. Your heart is like this tape. Except this is not the best illustration because this is one piece of tape, right? This is her heart. What about the fact that it's actually sticking to a bunch of other hearts? If I take this, even if I start with a brand new piece of tape, what's actually happening here, could you do me a favor? Could you hold that? And what's actually happening here is they're sticking together like this. One heart attached to another. But then they want to break up. Now, how is this going to work? It's going to be really hard because they are stuck together. God designed us this way, to be with one other person, to stick really, really, really well with someone. And so when you decide to break up, I'm going to try. I think I can do it. Hold on. Sorry. Maybe if I go from this end. Hold on. Man, I'm just ripping off pieces here. I don't think this is going to work out very well, is it? They're meant to be together. That's how we were designed. Some people go, Pastor Tom, how comes this hurts so much? I don't get it. We only went out for a few months, or we barely went out, but we talked a lot, and I really loved her, and I just had these feelings. Why can't I get past it? Why does it hurt so much? You literally feel like your heart has been ripped. You're like, I can't get past it. It's because you were designed to stick to one other person. And then there's the fact too, when this is your heart, when it's like this, and you go and you try to stick yourself to somebody else, it's this mess where you're dealing with other people's past over and over again, and it's so complicated and messy and convoluted, and it's just not fun anymore. But we go with, well, as long as I feel good right now, it works. The thing is, as long as it feels good right now, at some point, it's not going to feel good anymore. How are you going to deal with it? And what's going to happen is your heart's going to look like this or much, much worse. And you're going to go to someone and want to try to stick with them, and they're going to be like, it's hard being in a relationship with you. Because you got baggage, you got problems. Your heart is like this tape. There's a verse I want to share with you guys. Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. For those of you that are taking notes, you can sort of write it on the side. Proverbs 4:23. Under the dating is often a short-term relationship. You can stick it right in there. Guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. When you get hurt, when you allow your heart to be trampled on over and over, you're going to find that it's not just a compartment. It's just not just an area of your life where you go, this is my dating part of my life. This is my social part, and everything else is fine. It affects the entirety of your life. And honestly, it should be that way because who I spend my time with, my life with, is very important. When we did the character qualities last week, I told you guys that you want to end up with someone that you can share your life with. It's not just, I do life, and then I press pause, and now, oh, hello, wife. How are you? Everything is great, fine. Oh, hold on. I'm going to push you away and then deal with this issue. No, you deal with things together. That's how it works. When I was going around with the duct tape and sticking it on everyone, it was kind of a joke. Except I do see a lot of people do that with their hearts all the time. And it usually happens when people are teenagers that it starts. They might not do it as fast or with as many people, but they're still sticking their heart to a bunch of different people. When I look back at my life in high school and started to count the number of relationships I was in, I was like, holy crap, what was I doing? What was wrong with me? I was sticking my tape on other people, and it caused problems for me, and it caused problems for them down the road too. I was not guarding my heart like Proverbs 4:23 told me to, and it hurt. It hurt over and over again. Thinking back, there are times in life for all of you that you're going to look back and you're like, why was I so stupid? And I go, why was I so stupid with my heart at that time? It hurt over and over again. And I want to be honest, there are times that it still hurts now, Yes, I'm happily married and I love my wife and we are so great together and it's so wonderful. But I'm still hurt by the things in the past because my heart has been like this to some degree. I think the thing that hurts me the most now is the fact that I've done this to other people's hearts. I wasn't careful with the hearts of others. Proverbs 4:23 isn't just about guarding my own heart, but it's guarding other people's hearts as well. I told you about my girlfriend in 9th grade, Susan, and how wonderful that relationship went. I went right up to her and I stuck my tape on her and on her heart. And later, when I wanted out, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I ripped it away, causing serious and lasting damage. Sometimes people look at me like I have 5 heads when they're going out with someone, and I ask them this question. So you guys might get married someday? I go, Pastor Tom, that's weird. No way, we're just getting to know each other. Like, just getting to know each other? People use the reason just getting to know each other to justify dating, to justify attaching their hearts to someone else. And I go, why do you need to get to know each other? Instead, why don't you hang out with each other? You don't need to be as close. You don't need to stick your heart on their heart. You can just live life next to each other. You can create boundaries. That's the way to live. Because if you're attaching yourself to someone else, if you're not planning on it for the long term, then this is exactly what you're planning on. Heartbreak, pain, injury, not just for you, but for someone else as well. Why don't you try being friends first? You can get to know one another without creating a strong emotional bond with no commitment that frequently ends in heartbreak. I want to let you know you may be attracted to someone who is your friend, and that is okay. That is fine. God designed us that way to be attracted to other people. But it doesn't mean that you have to jump in and create a bond with them that sticks and stays. And then when you want to get out, you have to tear apart and it hurts. Great pain happens when we stick ourselves to someone else without considering the long-term consequences. If you aren't ready to consider the other person as someone you could get married to or aren't even thinking about marriage at all, why would you open up yourself to the possible injury that could take place by dating them? Now, for all of you, I kind of hope that you aren't thinking about marriage right now. You have so many other cool things to focus on in your life. We talked about before that God's given you the gift of singleness. There are huge things for each and every one of you to do in your lives, and that sometimes dating other people can get in the way of that. It can be a distraction. You don't need to be getting romantically attached to anyone. You have things to learn, places to travel to, friendships to have, sports to compete in, hobbies to experiment with. There's no point in you gambling with your heart and weighing yourself down with something that could scar your heart for the rest of your life and make it harder for when you actually are ready to consider marriage. Don't rob yourself of the gift of singleness. In the beginning of a dating relationship, most often the guy and girl are not viewing each other as a possible marriage partner. I'm pretty sure that for all of you, if you've had a girlfriend or boyfriend, especially your first one, you're not going, could you be my possible future husband or wife? They probably are not ready to seriously think about marriage or even want a marriage commitment at this time in their life. But they often pursue a dating relationship. Oftentimes, parents allow it or even encourage it. It's a part of our society. It's what we see. It's the idea of, oh, you want to take the car out? Go ahead, take the car. Oh, you want to take my daughter out? Go ahead. And yet you are so much more valuable. We live in a society where parents are increasingly giving their children more and more independence. And when we think of that car illustration and someone coming to borrow the car, in that illustration, you are the car or you are the one borrowing the car. Now, whether or not you have more or less independence from your parents, you still have the right to decide on whether or not you're going to be borrowing or being borrowed. You have the right, the ability to say, I'm going to go out and try to do this, or I'm not going to do this. It's your decision to engage with the rest of society or not, and use this broken system that ends in pain and heartbreak. It's up to you. So here's the kicker, the big question that I have for all of you. If you aren't ready to seriously consider getting married, why would you want to be in a dating relationship? Frequently I hear, I don't know, other people are doing it. I don't want to be alone. I want to let you know that you can still live your life next to other people. You don't have to worry about rushing and if I don't get someone quick, then it's not going to work and I need to do it soon. That's not how it works. You can still live your life next to other people, but I can almost always guarantee that if you are in a dating relationship, it will end in serious emotional injury. In our society, dating allows you to engage in practices that the world considers harmless, but actually violate God's principles of purity. Most often, it requires you to compromise your standards. For those of you that are taking notes, we're going to be getting new sheets next week. And this is what is going to be on the beginning of next week's notes. I didn't want to give you an extra page with only 2 blanks on it this week. I want you to ask yourself, have you ever done anything in a relationship that you regret? If there was one thing that I regret that I could take back, what would it be? For me, it's a mistake that I made because of a relationship that I shouldn't have been in the first place. Now, everything that I'm saying to you tonight isn't to make you feel guilty. I'm not saying it to condemn you. I told you at the very beginning when we talked about this, I'm looking at all of your relationships with the idea of affirmation. I'm not looking at trying to tear them down. But it's been in my experience when I see most of these relationships start and how they work, it ends in heartbreak almost all the time. I told you, since I have been keeping track and since I could remember, from my high school days, there are 3 relationships that started in high school that are still going. One was actually another couple that I knew personally in high school. When I was youth pastor 10 years ago, there were 2 couples in my youth group that got together before they graduated from high school, and they're still together. Now, the interesting thing, they actually used a lot of the stuff that we're talking about tonight, which is why I think they're still together, because some of them held onto the brakes. I know that there was a boy and a girl that they really, really liked each other. They liked each other in 11th grade, and they were just, we're not going to date, we're going to wait, we're going to wait, we're going to wait. It wasn't until after they graduated that they're like, hey, let's talk about being serious. And when we're starting to date, we're going to look at it with the idea that we want to get married. And they're still together today. Every other relationship that I've seen start in high school, it crumbles. Now, this doesn't mean that if you start a relationship with high school, it's going to fail. But the odds aren't great. And if you're in high school and you aren't in a relationship now, why would you try to play those odds? I encourage you to start to plan the path of what your life will look like when you get older. Asking yourselves what you want your life to be like. Asking what God wants your life to look like. This is not, Pastor Tom is telling me to never date. He doesn't want me to be in a relationship with anyone ever. He never wants me to have sex. He doesn't want me to be happy. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that God designed you in a special and unique way. He gave you gifts, talents, abilities, dreams, desires. He shaped and molded you in a way that is special and unique just to you. And that as you seek him, there will be someone else that will come alongside you and live life together with you someday. Why bother with all the drama and super relationships that come before that and get your heart attached to others only to be ripped away, causing significant pain and distracting you from the primary purposes of your life? It's not worth it. Now, some of you are bored out of your minds right now. You're like, Pastor Tom, why are we talking about this? Why are we spending so much time talking about relationships? The reason why is because it's the number one thing that I have dealt with as a youth pastor. Heartbreak, dealing with emotional baggage. I'm so thankful for those of you that can say right now, this isn't a big deal for me because you haven't gone through pain like this yet. And 10 years from now, if you come up to me and you're looking at getting married and you walk through the things that we're talking about in this series and you go, I am so glad that I avoided this. Now, everything that I'm saying, I'm not saying that everything's going to be fine and dandy. I'm just saying that you can limit the damage being done in your life, that the whole rest of the world is just running for all the time. These short-term emotional relationships that are built on this emotional bond that as soon as one person is like, I'm not feeling it, they're out, they're done, they're dipping over. And then this happens to someone. I'm so glad that many of you haven't gone through pain like that yet. But maybe you've seen it with friends or you've seen it at school. I want to equip you to avoid that pain and avoid one of the biggest distractions that the world uses to take your eyes off of God. I want to read for you Ephesians 4:17-20. And for those of you that have notes, it is in your notes for next week. So if you're like, I want to write that down, don't worry, it is there. So I tell you this and insist on it in the Lord, that you must no longer live as the Gentiles do in their futility of their thinking. They are darkened in their understanding and separated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them due to the hardening of their hearts. Having lost all sensitivity, they have given themselves over to sensuality so as to indulge in every kind of impurity with a continual lust for more. You, however, did not come to know Christ that way. We are called to live our life differently from the rest of the world. And the awesome thing is, when we live our life differently from the rest of the world, we are blessed by it. It wasn't until I started following what God had for me and some of this just common sense that my life got so much better when it came to relationships. That I stopped following the lust of the world and just going after whatever the world thinks. If I just need to be with someone, as long as I'm with someone now, then it's okay. No, God has someone for me to be married with for the rest of my life. And maybe I just haven't met them yet, and that's okay because he has them for me eventually when I'm supposed to be with them. And I shared with you before, if Katie and I started dating earlier than we did, we would not be together. I wasn't the man that she needed to marry. I had to grow, I had things to go through. We are encouraged to live differently than the rest of the world, including when it comes to how we relate to one another. I want you guys to be intentional with your relationships. Realize that if you just jump into something, it's going to end up like this. Also, if this happens to you in the next week, month, year, it's okay to still come talk to me. I'm not going to shame you. I'm not going to make you feel bad. I'm going to walk through it with you. I'm going to give you a hug. I'm going to say, I'm sorry, man, that really sucks. She's probably a terrible person, doesn't deserve you. And I'll get Katie to go to one of the girls and be like, oh, he's a bum. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But I will remind you at some point too, like, this is pain that could have been avoided. I'm not going to shame you. I just want to help you to avoid this. So if something happens, you can still come. We can work through it. I'm going to ask that God heals your heart. And we will be talking a little bit about how God might be able to heal some things later on as we go through. Let's pray. Lord, I ask that you would help us to not compromise. I ask that you would help us to build boundaries around our hearts so that we wouldn't get hurt. As Proverbs 4:23 says, to guard our hearts, for it is the wellspring of life. I ask that you help us to guard ourselves so that we don't get hurt. We believe that you have someone for us, and so that doesn't mean that we need to run around aimlessly, just dating whoever we want, but we can be intentional with who we're supposed to end up with. Teach us discipline, teach us self-control, and give us wisdom when it comes to who we're supposed to be with and how we're supposed to interact with others. We ask this in Jesus' name, amen.